Hi guys, come and see where Labour Party political analyst Kato dey answer questions wey pass computer and robots. Omo, this one be say His Excellency Peter Obi dey see well. Guys, make una watch this video till end and don't forget to share your thoughts with us.
Well, let's start off with the outing of your presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, at the Chatham House earlier this week. First is to know, why was Chatham House important to him? Would that be because everybody is going there? Because the candidate of the APC went there last year and, probably garnered a lot of media visibility. Would that be the reason? And what would be your assessment of the performance of your candidate, who a lot of people said, well, maybe didn't do too well while he was reading a speech, but then performed creditably well while he was taking answers and answering them directly to the audiences. What are your thoughts and what will be your analysis of how things went down there?
I'll start by saying with all sincerity that Peter Obi did excellently well. One thing I like about my principal is anywhere he goes, he takes the entire time to sell himself and not focus on other issues, except selling what it is he's going to bring to the Nigerian people. And he has done it over and over again. And that is what we saw in Chatham House. He reeled out what he was going to do with respect to his policies, from security to the fourth industrial revolution to restructuring to what would happen with the police force. He went on and on. What would happen if Nigeria borrows, where the money would go into. He talked about subsidy. I mean, he used his time very, very well, and anybody who watched that will understand that this is a man who means well for Nigeria. He talked about strengthening institutions. He talked about, destroying our rent-seeking system. It was so much. It was a well-packed speech. And that is what you do when you go to an intellectual space. You go to a space where there's policy on the table. That's exactly what you do. With respect to going to Chatham House, if our candidate, if Peter Obi, avoids other places and appears in Chatham House, then you will say, oh, you know what, this is low self-esteem. Why are we abandoning Nigeria to go to other places and speak? But this is a policy institute, and people go to these places. I mean, Joe Biden has been there, other world leaders has been there. Nigeria is not left behind. We are an important part of the global conversation. So if other big world leaders are going, of course, Nigerian leaders should go. Those who are seeking office in Nigeria should go too. The difference, you would say, with Peter Obi is that Peter Obi is everywhere. He's speaking everywhere. Chatham House is not an exception. It's just one of the many places in which he's putting out his plans for Nigerians. And there's no problem with that. Let's look at what he's doing in Nigeria. Currently, he has town hall meetings, a lot of town hall meetings with young people all across the nation. Everywhere he goes now, he first has town hall meetings with youth, students, because this is the generation that is feeling the bite, and it's the generation whose future is about to be mortgaged if we don't get it right in this election. So again, Chatham House is not an exception. If you call Peter Obi to speak anywhere, and that is something he prides himself in, he says that, look, I am trying to sell myself to the Nigerian people. I am trying to sell myself to the world to make everybody understand, look, this is Nigeria's standing in the world, and this is how important this election is. I'm trying to preach a gospel here, and I'm trying to make people understand the importance of this election and the importance of the time and the importance of a government as mine. There is no platform too big or too small for him to go to sell this message.
Let me go back quickly to the question of experience and intellectualism. Peter Obi has described himself as a trader, not once, not twice. My question to you, why should Nigerians prefer a trader to, say, an intellectual, a PhD holder, or an accountant, or somebody who has been a vice president? Why a trader? Yes.
And who says these things are mutually exclusive? Who says these things are mutually exclusive? That a trader cannot be an intellectual? Peter Obi is an intellectual par excellence. In fact, Peter Obi is solely responsible for bringing the kind of conversations we're having in this election season. If he was not here, we would have been talking about frying maize by the roadside and drinking pure water in front of little children. He has led the conversation in these campaigns. He has made sure that we have made these campaigns about the issues, forced other candidates to come on platforms that they would rather not come on to speak. He has changed the way in which politicking is going to happen in Nigeria. There's no shame in being a trader. This is a successful trader. This is one who has made his money not from the coffers of government, but from his hard work. And this is why he always talks about wealth the scourge of wealth without enterprise, because he does not understand the system. And most time, the system, I'll say, is the system in which people just get into government or get into spaces and continue to make money off the back of the Nigerian people. And I think this is a man that we should trust with that. Someone who has not, is not part of this rent-seeking system that he speaks so passionately about and that needs to die. So if we see a trader who has been successful with top companies, a trader who has been successful with a bank, with a top supermarket chain store, importing and exporting, and so many other things, are we going to say, oh my God, this is a good trader, but oh, he's a trader, that's a low term, whatever he does, he's just a trader. This is an excellent businessman. This is an intellectual, solely responsible for the kind of election we're having, and solely responsible for the change, the shift in our political culture. And I'm super proud of him. So when we're mentioning this, I also like to see mention that many of the experience people are talking about, look, you've not seen, many of these people have not had a single experience outside of government, outside the nepotism of, pushing your appointment from one side to the other based on who you know. This is a man that came into politics by himself with the intention to create change, and he did that in Anambra State. When he stepped up for Anambra, they said the same thing. Who is this trader? We are used to seeing people who have grown in the political class. The political class are the ones who hold this space. You stand no chance. But he came and he bulldozed that space and he entered. And it's the same thing that is happening now. Please, it's not mutually exclusive. The fact that my candidate is a trader, a very successful one at that, does not mean that he's not an intellectual. Peter Obi is one of the best intellectuals you meet any day, anytime.
All right. One of the key issues that came out of his time at Chatham House was the fact that he said that he will look into the issue of agitations by different groups who are agitating for for different federations, etc. And that came as an interesting topic to a lot of analysts, given the fact that for a long time, Mr. Peter Obi has refrained from directly engaging with the issue of IPOB. So from what he has said at Chatham House, is he basically saying that he will negotiate with IPOB, with the Yoruba Nation agitators, and if you like, with Boko Haram? How precisely does he think that negotiation will work? And why didn't he mention IPOB specifically at Chatham House?
So there are many, when it comes to Nigeria, there are so many spaces where agitations are happening. And when the system is unfair, like the system we're running in Nigeria, and injustice is the order of the day, you're going to see a lot of agitations. My principal has always made example with, Canada and people who were secessionists in Canada at a time. And he said, look, it is from strife, talks of secession comes. When you make your society equitable, when you bring justice to the Nigerian system and introduce the rule of law that in which every Nigerian should fall under, no one should be bigger than the other, and this is a safe space for Nigerians, these agitations will reduce. And that's true. We've seen it around the world. Nigeria is not a special case. People agitate everywhere. Now, back to the issue of dialogue. There are two things our candidate has said. Number one, disobeying the law. The law is already there. You don't need any special commission or anything. The law is already there, and the law is already clear on violence, damage to property, and taking of human life. And the law is going to cater to that. So we don't need to set up a special panel. We don't need to set up any special thing to take care of what is happening with agitations or people who are causing damage, If people disobey the law is there, the Nigerian police force is there, they are there for that. But we also have to go to the core of the argument of why they are agitating. And we cannot just say, you know what, just because you're agitating, Nigeria or nothing, we're not going to listen to you. Everybody has what it is they are clamoring for. And at the forefront of this, or at the foundation of this, is injustice. And it's good to listen to people. What Nigeria has fundamentally gotten wrong is listening to Nigerians when Nigerians are agitating. Be it protest, be it when Nigerians say they're tired of a particular thing. The Nigerian system does not want to listen. The Nigerian system thinks that the best way is to continue to push, to shoot at protesters, to, attack. And then when they become overwhelmed, when everybody takes weapons, then they go, look, oh, you're violent. Now we shall negotiate with this violence. Nigeria seems to think that when you bring violence to the table, that is when they can listen to you. And he's saying, look, we're going to take another way. Once we create an equitable system, and it's that equitable system he's trying to, once there's creation of wealth, once every Nigerian feels that they have an equal opportunity, equal investment, equal love from the Nigerian system, you will see a change. And that is where he's going to with this conversation. Be it IPOB, be it those agitating in the southwest or those agitating in the north. All of these things come down to the question of injustice, and we're going to tackle that.
All right, indeed. Does the Labour Party believe that the Independent National Electoral Commission do have what it takes to prosecute a free, fair, credible elections? Because some will say that maybe the Labour Party doesn't, maybe the Labour Party thinks otherwise, because you have called out the Labour Party, called out INEC for what you term shady dealings, especially when it comes to party agents and what actually happened between yourself, the party agents, and INEC over the course of just this week. Talk to us about this, INEC and their readiness for the elections.
It is our duty. We sincerely hope that INEC is ready for this election. But that aside, it is our duty to continue to keep INEC on their toes to make sure that they do the right thing. And that's what we are doing. At every step of the way, if we feel that something is not right, that INEC is not living up to their duties, and not keeping up with their job as they should be, we'll continue to call them out, and we'll continue to keep them on their toes. That's our duty. For me, even if it's not in party politics, as a person occupying the office of the citizen, it's my duty to ensure that INEC is on their toes. And I see that it's mostly Labour Party, especially the young people, that continue to call INEC out. And we are seeing answers when we call INEC out. We're seeing that INEC is responding. And this is the kind of system we want. We can't sit back and fold our arms and say, oh, we want INEC to behave the right way. We want things to go the right way. We want this collection of voters' cards to be seamless. But then when we see injustice or when we see INEC staff not doing their job, we just fold our arms. No, it's a back and forth thing. INEC needs to continuously be on their toes till they get this right, and we hope that they get it right with this election. We would not let them have it easy if they do not do the right thing. We will continue to push. We are hoping that they do the right thing, and on our part, we are vigilant.
All right, Andy, thanks. Just a quick question before we'll let you go. You said earlier in the interview that your candidate stays with the issues. But lately, we have seen that, he's been engaging in brickbat with other parties, and namely the APC. An example would be what is said about the fact that Nigeria cannot afford to hand over, Nigerians can't afford to hand over a sick nation to a sick man. And of course, there was a response from the camp of the APC that Nigerians can't afford to hand over a sick nation to a quack doctor. How much more of brickbat can we get, from your candidate? Is he going into that territory with the APC?
No, he's just speaking facts. And it all falls on that, look, we have to say what the problem is. The APC has destroyed Nigeria for all we know. 8 years of sorrow, 8 years of gnashing of teeth from the Nigerian people. It has been tough on all of us, you and I inclusive. Let's not pretend like we're not feeling the weight of this government. And then to say that after what has happened with Buhari, we will fail to recognize that we're falling into the same trap with Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Of course, someone has to speak about it. So he didn't say that in jest. He said it as a matter of honesty. This is how we feel, that we can't go from what we have experienced with the APC now and then still enter the same thing. I mean, come on, Nigerians, we have to be serious now. We have to really take the bull by the horn and take our future into our hands. And that's what he was talking about. That is not ordinary sparring. That is simply speaking the truth. That is simply speaking the truth. This is the issue on ground. That we have experienced this for the past 8 years. We've experienced excuses. We've experienced our president out of the country for so many months. We've experienced people saying, oh, it's not the president really in charge, it's the cabal that has taken over because the president is not feeling fine. It is not wrong for a candidate and also a Nigerian to say, look, after experiencing this for 8 years, we cannot experience this for another 8 years. He did not say it in jest. He was serious and he was speaking for the Nigerian people. That is my thought on the issue and the thought of millions of other Nigerian people who are afraid of the possibility of a repeat of what happened in the last 8 years.